I was not paid to make this video nor paid to promote any products, but I would like to thank Axis Foils for loaning me their Black Series gear so I could make this video. This is the new Black Series fuselage from Axis. I wanted to share the unboxing experience of this new Axis 1050 and the Black Series fuselage. I've always liked the Axis wing covers. I find them easy to put on and off, and they're built with high quality materials and zippers. For me, I assemble the foil inside my house and take that assembled and mounted foil outside, and not only have these covers helped me keep the wings nice, but they've saved multiple door and wall dings in my house. The Axis team shared this note and a +1 degree shim with me. I'll need this shim so that I can match the rear wing and front wing differences in angle of attack with this setup to the setup I'm familiar with the Axis 1150 and the 1010. That's because the Black Series 1050 is mounted with a lower angle of attack than the other Axis S-Series wings. The Axis 1050 is similar in wing plan geometry as the Axis 1010 and the 1150, but it has a different foil cross-section. Immediately you'll see the smaller recession where the fuselage meets the front wing. Why would Axis do this? If you take an existing Axis wing, you can see a much larger recession is needed to accommodate this larger red S-Series fuselage. This required that the wing was thicker in the middle, and thus compromised the foil's cross-section in the middle, requiring the thickness of the foil to be larger in the middle. This affects the lift and the drag performance of the wing, and allows with the Black Series now for these wings to be thinner with a much smaller recession to accommodate the fuselage and enhance the wing's performance. The front wing has 4 screw connections to the fuselage, 2 8mm screws with T40 Torx heads just like the existing wings from Axis, and 2 new smaller 6mm screws, that's the same size as the rear wing screws but a little bit shorter, and those have T30 Torx heads. Besides the nice black aluminum color, the Black Series fuselage is noticeably different. You can see how much smaller the head of the fuselage is, and not only is the length and width smaller than the red S-Series fuselage, the thickness of the Black Series fuselage is drastically different. And that's what enables the thinner wing shape. The Black Series is nearly half the thickness of the red S-Series fuselage. When I first unpacked this Black Series fuselage, I immediately wondered if it would be compatible with the existing red masts from Axis, and was happy to find out they are. So for the Black Series wings, you'll need the Black Series fuses, but you can leverage all of the rest of your foil setup. I wanted to compare the Black Series Axis 1050 to 2 wings that I'm quite familiar with. These are the Axis 1150 and the Axis 1010. The area and the wingspan of the 1050 sits right between the 1010 and the 1150. The aspect ratio is also very similar. I am told that the foil section of the Black Series 1050 is different than the 1010 and 1150, which both have the same foil cross-section. So I took the 1050 out to the bungee launch and began an hour of trying to launch it. Before I show the 1050, I wanted to share my experience with the 1010 and the 1150, both of which I find very easy to launch off the bungee. The 95-pound pull force off the dock generates plenty of force to launch these 2 wings with a very high success rate. And even with a larger area than the Axis 1010, I found the Black Series 1050 difficult to launch. I find that a wing that's easy to launch on the bungee has a low stall speed or a low takeoff speed, which I find to be a very nice attribute for the lake. The Axis 1050 didn't appear to have a low enough takeoff speed compared to the 1010 and the 1150. So I improvised the launch and this seemed to get the 1050 into the air. The 1050 is being paired with the short fuselage, the 460mm rear wing, and the 1° shim we discussed earlier, as well as the 75cm mast that's 19mm thick. My first impression was that this wing pumped faster than wings I was used to, and I liked the feeling. In this test, I found the Axis 1050 to pump 60 times in the 38.5 seconds, or 1.56 pumps per second. In this test, we compared the Axis 1050 to the Axis 1150. In 69 seconds, I pumped this wing 104 times, giving it a cadence of 1.5 pumps per second. The Axis in 1150 and the Axis 1050 had very similar pumping cadence, though I felt like I could pump the Axis 1150 for a lot longer. My first impression was the Black Series 1050 was fast, and I wanted to put its pumping speed to the test. Before trying the 1050, I compared the 1010 and 1150 and found that their pumping speeds were quite similar. I found the 1050 Black Series shown on the bottom to be faster than the 1010. And similarly, I found the 1050 Black Series, again shown on the bottom, to be faster than the 1150. And when comparing glide distance, I found the 1050 Black Series glide to be repeatable. And we found the 1050 Black Series had a similar glide distance as the Axis 1010. The Black Series 1050 had a nice glide and a fast pumping speed. It felt like it wanted to be pumped faster than the 1010 and the 1150. At 1500 square centimeters of area, this was a nice size wing for me at 190 pounds or 86 kilos. Back up a few months and add 50 degrees Fahrenheit to the temperature, you'll see me pumping the Axis 1150. I feel like the Axis 1150 wants to be pumped slower than the Black Series 1050. The 1150 sweet spot is at a slower speed, and when I launch the 1150 on the bungee, it rises out of the water fast. In comparison, today I was unable to launch the Black Series 1050 and gave up after 9 attempts. When the speed is slower, the drag force is lower, and I feel like that's a big reason why I've been able to pump the Axis 1150 for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I have yet to ride a wing that I feel like could be pumped for that long. The Black Series 1050 felt fluid and easy to transfer, which is as expected for a 1500 square centimeter high aspect front wing. I found the 1050 pumped relatively well through the carve, but of all the Axis wings I've tried, the Axis 1000 is my favorite for pumping through a carve. At 1500 square centimeters of area, I expected this wing to surf the second wake better. Perhaps the wing is just tuned for higher speeds and just doesn't generate enough lift at these low speeds. I found this wing nicely accelerated from the second to first wake, and again that's in line with its faster pumping speed. And at 105 centimeter wingspan, which is relatively large, this rolling felt as expected for a high wingspan wing. This wing felt locked in at high speeds. In fact, its pumping, gliding, and carving all felt better at high speeds. Unfortunately, when a wing performs best at higher speeds, it just takes more effort to keep the foil going, and that energy limits the amount of time you can stay off the rope or off the weight. I've realized that low speed lift matters to me on the lake, and you can see here that this loss of lift, I felt like I could have saved this with the Axis 1150, but was unable to with the Black Series 1050. I am excited about what the Black Series has in store. The consistent wing cross-section will improve lift and drag performance because the wing can now be thinner in the middle. The 1050 performed best at high speeds. It felt locked in and wanted to be pumped faster than the Axis 1150 and 1010. But the higher speed has a higher drag force and the more energy you need to put in to keep the foil moving. This will limit the pumping duration of this wing and will limit the amount of time you can spend off wake or off rope. The Black Series 1050 offers good lake performance, but I still prefer the Axis 1010 and Axis 1150.